Hello, I'm Evelyn Bouley, an artist, art teacher, and volunteer docent at the Pearl Fincher Museum of Fine Arts. I'm coming to you today to show you another fun art project that was inspired by some of the artwork that we have on display here in the gallery. This spring and summer we've had a lovely grouping of quilts, and one of my favorite that I enjoy sharing when I bring the students around, and especially the young children around, is one that was done by Mary Huntington. It's called The Mighty Oak. It looks a little bit like the old-fashioned heirloom crazy quilts in that there's so much going on, but when I looked at it, I couldn't help it. My teacher mind saw a collage, and I started thinking, how could we use this as our inspiration and turn it into a project that we could teach our students how to use collage, and even the same subject matter that Mary chose, which are the beautiful Texas live oak trees. When you look at the beautiful quilt that Mary did, you're amazed with all of the intricacy and embellishments. She's done tatting with lace, embroidery with silk ribbon, applique, little found objects. It's something you could just stare at for hours because you just want to count how many cute little animals and little unusual surprises she has peeking out at you from all over this wonderful work of art. So, I'd like to talk to you about how we could use that in the classroom. This project is something that you could do, and I know a lot of us enjoy collage because it is so open-ended. It's also something that we could teach our students, and teaching our students about collage is something that also gives us many teachable moments, and I will get into that in just a moment. Now I'd like to show you the example that I made when I was thinking about turning this quilt into a collage. This is my painting that I did of a live oak tree, and I was very fortunate to have a wonderful tree that inspires me whenever I go to work. It's on the property, it's on the campus of where I teach. This tree that I see is so amazing and incredible. I don't know how many hundreds of years old it is, but I have actually pulled the car over more than once just to gaze at it and promise myself that yes, someday I'm going to come back and paint that. And so when I did this project for you, that's exactly what I did. I completed that bucket list. I painted that amazing live oak tree that I love to see when I go over to work. This is a photograph that I have of the tree, so you can see how beautiful and majestic it is. Like so many live oaks, it can be hundreds of years old, and the trunk is so large your arms couldn't even reach all the way around it, and it has those graceful limbs that reach down and then come back up. I did a little bit of reading about trees, and it said that the oak tree is often one that is symbolizing power and growth and even integrity. So those kind of things symbolize to me a lot that we want to have in education. So that is why I decided that it was a really appropriate subject for this particular collage. If you would look at this up closely with me, I'd like to point out some of the things that I have included and why I included them, because this is how I will teach my students when it comes time to let them do their own live oak tree. If you look very closely, you will see that on the bark we have the hand of God touching the fingertip of Adam to bring him life. This also leads the eye up to the butterfly, which can symbolize rebirth. Those items give you a teachable moment. Some of our students need to learn about symbolism in art and to learn how they can express those things in their art. If we encourage them, I think we're going to encourage creative thinkers. And that would be my point when I teach this. I want to show them how masterpieces by Michelangelo and Leonardo oftentimes have meaning beyond the obvious and the literal, and how art can help you express those things. So this is what I was trying to express: my love of Leonardo with Mona Lisa, the feeling that of an educator at a classical school, that books and reading and memorization are very important. Here's a little tribute to their mascot, which happens to be a knight. This is a found object, and I'm going to encourage my students when we do this project to find their own objects and to share them with me, and show me when they add it to their tree what its meaning is. This is meaningful to me because I'm all about working with your hands. To me, art is a major part of my life. The butterfly, once again, the Grecian urn, a tribute to classical studies. Over here is a stencil. I did that from a label that I found on a shirt I had bought. And if you develop that artist's eye in your students, they will start to get resourceful and notice things and look for little things that might be someone's trash, but to them it's actually treasure. Of course, I have more about music because the arts are so important to a well-rounded education. And this tree of Providence is important to me because not only is it actually the name of the school, but the word Providence kind of sums it up for me. The obvious pictures of a heart, because we are molding the hearts of our students. It is a Christian school, so we have the symbol for Christianity. I'm a renowned dog lover, so I shared my ceramic button of a dog. And lastly, you will find little birds' nests throughout, and these are pictures that I just found on wrapping paper, and I added them. And for me, the nurturing and the safe environment and the feeling of raising the young people, that's what I was thinking about when I included those birds' nests. So let's talk about the basics, about what supplies you need and how you would go to present this when you get started with your students. The first thing that I plan to do is to take them outside to draw the actual tree. I'm fortunate that I have that access to the tree right there on the campus, but if you don't have a tree around, you could certainly find an image and a photograph of it, and the students could work from that. And then we will draw that tree after a little bit of instruction about how the trunk is the largest part, and that breaks off into the limbs, and that breaks off down into the smaller twigs and so forth. That'll be our first layer. Then we will paint on a canvas board their tree. And I'm going to encourage them to use whatever colors they want, because once again, they're expressing more than just a tree. They're really expressing their feelings. This is going to be a subject about their school and where they fit into their school. And so color can help tell us some of that too. Then, after we have the first layer, it's going to be time for the fun part where we add the embellishments, much like Mary Huntington did on her quilt. And that's where art teachers who collect their treasure trove of objects will have a lot of fun. I love to share these kind of things with my students, but in addition to letting them select some of the things that I have for them to use, I'm going to insist that they must invest in finding their own objects and using their own research and their own time to find things that are meaningful specifically to them, so that they can really, really feel that this is their tree of life It tells their story. I have lots of paper. I'm going to encourage them to look in all sorts of places that they might not have noticed before, whether it's wrapping paper or scrapbook paper or paper that we might have marbled in class or printed in class. You save all of those little scraps and then revitalize it and use it again and include it in your artwork somewhere. It could be a piece of music. That makes great collage material. And then when they have glued them all down, oh, and I must say that the best kind of glue for this project is Weld Bond. It says bonds almost anything, and it really does. It is very reliable and dries clear and quite quickly, you know, much better than a hot glue gun. So you can use that very safely with your students. So this project teaches them about symbolism. It teaches them to think beyond just the obvious. It teaches them about expression. It teaches them about insight. And they think about the things they believe in and how they can be resourceful to express those things. And it's also great for a teacher because it gives me a connection and a relationship with that student because I get to know them, the real personality, and they can share with me. I think as a way to grade this, it would be a very good idea to do a one-on-one where the student actually verbalizes and explains their painting to you. Somewhat like an interview in a vase competition, because that's also important in learning how to express yourself eloquently. So I hope that you have fun with this project. I hope it's something you can use in some way. I know I had a delightful time. It was such a pleasure to paint that beautiful tree that has inspired me as I would drive by it on my way to work. So enjoy making art, and I hope to see you again at the Pearl. Thank you.